Stop. Whatever you are doing right now, stop. Because Netflix just dropped the official BTS comeback live trailer. And the internet? Completely unhinged. Millions of views in hours. 40 countries trending simultaneously. ARMY breaking Twitter in real time. But here's the thing, out of everything in that trailer, out of the iconic visuals, the historic Gwanghwamun Square backdrop, the cinematic shots of all 7 members together for the first time in years, the moment that absolutely broke the internet was just 6 words. 6 words. From Jungkook. So emotional. I really miss them. And nobody was ready for it. Stay with me. Because I'm about to break down exactly why those 6 words hit harder than any comeback announcement in K-pop history. And why what Jungkook said wasn't just a hype line, it was the most honest moment we've seen from him in years. Let's set the scene. It's early March 2026. BTS ARMY has been in a state of controlled chaos since the album announcement. Arirang is coming. The Netflix live concert at Gwanghwamun Square is 3 weeks away. And then out of nowhere, Netflix drops the full official trailer. And it is cinematic. I mean genuinely, big budget, Hollywood-level cinematic. Directed by Hamish Hamilton, the same guy who directed the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show and the 2026 Grammy Awards, this trailer wasn't thrown together. Every frame is intentional. Every second is calculated. You've got sweeping drone shots of Gwanghwamun Square. You've got each member getting their individual hero moment, name in bold white text on screen, shot against one of Seoul's most breathtaking landmarks. You've got Microcosmos playing in the background, which if you know BTS, you know that song is basically ARMY's national anthem, so that alone had people crying before anyone even said a word. The trailer opens with archival footage. The moment BTS announced their military hiatus. The fan reactions from 2022, the disbelief, the grief, the long silence of a fandom that had just been told their whole world was about to pause. It's an emotionally deliberate setup. The trailer is saying, remember how it felt to lose them? Good. Because look what's coming back. And then Jungkook appears on screen. And he says it. So emotional. I really miss them. The clip of just that moment extracted from the trailer and shared separately got over 50 million views in the first 24 hours. Tweets quoting those 6 words received upwards of 133,000 likes in a matter of hours. Fan accounts were tagging each other, posting the timestamp, typing nothing except those words with no context because they didn't need context. The world already understood. Now here's what I need you to understand. Because this isn't just a cute moment. This isn't just Jungkook being soft for the cameras. This is a deeply significant statement from a man who has been through something that most people don't fully grasp. Let me give you the full picture. Jin enlisted first in December 2022. Then J-Hope. Then RM. Then V and Jimin enlisting together. Then Suga completing his service in July 2025. For almost 3 full years, BTS was not BTS. They were 7 individuals, in different military units, completely cut off from the civilian life they had known, including from each other. Think about what that means for Jungkook specifically. He is the youngest member. The Magne. He joined BTS as a trainee at 15 years old. His entire adolescence, his early 20s, his whole sense of self as a performer and as a human being, all of it was shaped inside the context of being one of 7. RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, and V weren't just his bandmates. They were his family. The 6 people who had been his constants since before he was old enough to drive. And then, one by one, they were gone. Not because anyone wanted them to go. Not because of a creative disagreement or a label dispute or any of the dramatic reasons that break up most bands. But because South Korea's mandatory military service is not optional. It is not symbolic. It is 2 years of your life, in uniform, completely separated from everything you built. Jungkook went through his own enlistment. He completed his service. He came out the other side. And then he stood in front of a Netflix camera, 3 weeks before the biggest concert of his life, and the first thing out of his mouth wasn't a hype line. It wasn't "we're back and better than ever." It wasn't any of the polished phrases a publicist would sign off on. It was, "so emotional. I really miss them." 6 words that contain 3.5 years of separation, reunion, and relief. That's why it hit. Not because it was surprising for Jungkook to be emotional. Anyone who has followed him for more than 5 minutes knows he feels things deeply. But because he said it out loud, on camera, for a global audience, without a filter. In a world where celebrity communication is almost entirely mediated and managed and optimized, Jungkook just told the truth. And the world recognized truth when it heard it. Now, here's the layer that the most observant army have been breaking down since the trailer dropped. And it's a question that sounds simple but actually opens up something really fascinating. When Jungkook says "I really miss them," who is them? On the surface, in the context of the trailer, it's obviously ARMY. The whole visual setup of that moment is built around footage of fans. The trailer is designed to frame Jungkook's words as a message from the band to the fandom. That interpretation is completely valid. That reading is what Netflix intended. But there's another layer. One that a lot of fans have pointed out with quiet certainty. Because Jungkook is not the kind of person who separates his love for ARMY from his love for his members. When he talks about what he missed during the hiatus, when he talks about what this comeback means to him, he is almost certainly talking about both at the same time. He missed his members. He missed being in a room with all 6 of them. He missed the choreography sessions that run until 4 in the morning because nobody wants to stop. He missed the dynamic that only exists when all 7 of them are in the same space, the specific energy of BTS that isn't reproducible with 6 or 5 or 4. And he missed the feeling of performing for a crowd who knows every word, every formation, every breath. A crowd that shows up for them with the kind of devotion that most performers never experience in an entire career. I really miss them, it's all of it. All at once. Said in 6 words, with a voice that didn't fully stay steady. Jungkook has grown into one of the most technically accomplished performers of his generation. 7 spent over 134 consecutive weeks on the Billboard Global charts. He headlines arenas as a solo artist. He's a Chanel Beauty Global Ambassador. He's on the cover of Rolling Stone UK. And yet, in this moment, he sounds exactly like the 20-something guy who just finished 2 years away from everything he loves and is still processing the fact that he's about to get it back. That's not a PR stunt. That's a person. Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because the Jungkook moment doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a trailer that is doing something genuinely unprecedented in the history of live music events. March 21, 2026. Gwangwon Square, Seoul. 8 p.m. Korean Standard Time. 4 a.m. for fans on the west coast of America, and yes, they will be awake. Do not question ARMY's dedication. This is BTS The Comeback Live, streaming exclusively and globally on Netflix. And this isn't just a concert stream. This is the first live music event Netflix has ever produced and broadcast globally. The first live performance of any kind to come out of Korea and go directly into the living rooms of the entire world simultaneously. Hamish Hamilton is directing it. The production scale is Super Bowl halftime show level. The setlist will include live debut performances of songs from Erarang, BTS's 5th studio album, dropping the day before the concert on March 20th. The title track is Swim. Jungkook has songwriting credits on 4 tracks, including Hooligan. This is not a nostalgic victory lap. This is a full creative statement from a band that spent 3 years away and came back with something to say. And then 6 days later, March 27th, Netflix drops BTS, The Return. A full documentary directed by Baum Nguyen, the filmmaker behind The Greatest Night in Pop. Behind the scenes of the reunion. Behind the scenes of making Erarang. The full story of how 7 men went into the military as a group on pause and came back as something even more intentional. That documentary will almost certainly show us the full context of So Emotional. I really miss them. The moment before the camera rolled. The conversation that led there. And when it does, I promise you ARMY is going to watch that clip on loop for the rest of the year. But here's the thing about the trailer doing what it did. Here's why that 6-word moment functions as more than just a viral clip. It told the truth about what this comeback actually is. This isn't a manufactured hype machine. This isn't 7 people following a label playbook because their contract requires a certain number of promotional appearances. This is a reunion that is genuinely emotional for the people inside it. And Jungkook, without PR training or strategic calculation or any apparent thought for what it would do to the internet, said so out loud. That matters. In an industry where authenticity is constantly performed and almost never genuine, that matters enormously. Let me read you something. Because the fan response to this trailer, specifically to Jungkook's moment, wasn't just screaming and broken heart emojis. A lot of ARMY got very articulate about exactly why it hit the way it did. One of the most widely shared fan threads broke it down like this: we watched Jungkook grow up. We watched him go from a 15-year-old who could barely look at a camera to one of the best performers alive. We watched him leave for the military. We counted down the days. And then he comes back and the first thing he says is that he missed us, and he's emotional, not as a line, not as content, but as a person talking to another person. After everything, he still leads with love. That's why we're not okay. Thousands of people quote retweeted that thread. Because it named something that a lot of ARMY had been feeling but hadn't quite put into words. The relationship between BTS and their fandom is genuinely unusual in the history of pop music. It's not parasocial in the typical one-directional sense. BTS built their career on a direct, ongoing conversation with ARMY, through daily Weverse posts, through live streams, through songs that explicitly name and address the fans as co-creators of the BTS story. ARMY didn't just purchase a product. They participated in something. So when Jungkook says, "I really miss them," it lands on people who have genuinely been there. Who remember the exact date Jin enlisted. Who stayed up for discharge days. Who have their own memories of 3 years of waiting and hoping and streaming solo releases and telling each other just a little longer. The 6 words weren't just Jungkook being vulnerable. They were Jungkook acknowledging a shared experience. Saying, we both went through something. And we both made it to the other side. And here we are. That's not a PR moment. That's communion. And the internet, which is usually the least conducive place for genuine emotion, felt it completely. So, March 21st, Gwangwamun Square. Netflix. All 7 members. Hamish Hamilton at the helm. Arirang making its live debut. And somewhere in that crowd, or on that stage, the full weight of what's so emotional. "I really miss them" actually meant is going to become completely clear. We are days away from BTS standing on a stage together for the first time since 2022. Days away from Jungkook performing alongside his 6 brothers in front of a live crowd and a global Netflix audience simultaneously. Days away from the moment that 6 words in a trailer were pointing at. Nobody expected Jungkook to say what he said. But honestly, we should have. Because if there is one thing that has always been true about Jungkook, through every era, every album, every transformation, it's that when it actually matters, he doesn't perform his feelings. He just tells you the truth. And right now, the truth is, he's emotional. He missed them. And March 21st can't come fast enough. Alright, if you felt that even a little bit, hit that like button right now. I'm serious. This video took real work, and your like is what tells YouTube to push it to more ARMY. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you doing? We cover every BTS and Jungkook update the moment it drops. You do not want to be the last person to know what happens on March 21st, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and you will never miss another moment. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Where were you when you first heard Jungkook say so emotional? I really miss them? What was your reaction? Were you okay? Because I was not okay. Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you on March 21st, don't be late.